Mabuhay!
Hi! Welcome to
The Babaylan Bruja Book Club podcast.
It's Your Village Kapwatids, Steph
and Aimee, and here we are together again. And as always, in efforts to decolonize our minds, bodies, and reconnect with spirit by ways of relation via conversation, of education, interpretation, and integration.
So this is our invitation for you to join us on our journeys as we discuss the works of honored artists, authors, and thought leaders in the Filipinx diaspora.
Quick disclaimer, we want to acknowledge that in this moment, everyone is exactly where they need to be.
And since we are not experts, yet we share our own unique lived experiences, we invite you to take or toss any statements, opinions, words that we may use as you choose.
We are so glad you found your way here.
So as always, before we begin, we want to take a moment to ground, taking a pause to drop into our bodies and become fully present in this space. If it's safe for you, we invite you to close your eyes, strengthen your spine, and direct your focus to your breath. Take a few deep inhales, extending your belly out. And as you exhale, bring your belly button back in. Let's do that one more time together. Inhale. And exhale. Connect back into your body. Come into this moment. Try not to think about earlier or later. Can you allow yourself to be in this moment? So as we begin our conversation, we always thank God, the Tala Creator, for another gathering. In gratitude, we acknowledge our benevolent ancestors, and we invite all these forces to guide and protect this conversation today. We also thank the ancestors of the lands Aimee and I occupy, because we know we can't do our own remembrance work without remembering them. For me, that's the Bay Miwok people in the inland Bay Area of California. And Aimee, that's the mound builders, known as the Hopewell and Adena people in Ohio. With gratitude, we also recognize your presence, Kapwatid, your energy, your light, no matter wherever and whenever you're tuning in.
For that prayer, sissy.
You're welcome.
Okay, so as always, we do Bruja check, and then we're gonna do Brown Girl Cliff Notes, and then we got vocabulary words and quotes. This is a juicy, maybe slightly cringy chapter. So before that, let's clear our energy and let's talk about Bruja things.
Yeah, let's check in with the Bruja things we do.
Yes.
Who goes first?
I don't know. I don't remember. Do you
I'll go.
Okay.
All right.
And then just for structure's sake, we'll do 1 minute and 30 on the clock. Ready?
Okay,
go.
Bruja ting. So is the week of, or it's Sunday. What is time though, right? But it was Halloween / Samhain / also Samhain. Sorry, I say it wrong. Araw ng Patay. And so whatever you might refer to as the Day of the Dead, and we connect. The veils are thin. You're invited to connect with your ancestors. And so this week, a Bruja ting, I decided to bring. I was in class with my classmates, so we did a makeshift altar at school, and that was really fun. Yeah. I emailed them prior because, emerging therapists, all about consent. And I was like, hey guys, we're gonna be in class for 7 hours tomorrow. Do you want to do a makeshift altar and honor our ancestors and all this stuff? So a few of them consented. I would say at least the majority, half the class enjoyed it. And I brought the elements. I brought my sprays, tinctures,
Right.
and flowers, and we just had a good time. Everybody brought a piece of something for their ancestors, pictures. One of my classmates brought her grandmother's like 100-old cookie jar. And yeah, it was just really lovely. It was very lovely. My professors enjoyed it too. We got to go around. It's like show and tell a little bit. So yeah, I thought it would be a nice, in the spirit of cultural humility. Did it go off?
Yeah,
Okay.
it did. But still
Oh,
finish it up.
in the spirit of cultural humility, which is a muscle they tell us in school to keep flexing, because you'll never know everything about culture. You need to be open, especially when there's white people in the class. So, but they have their own histories too. So it was an invitation for them to get rooted and tap into that. So anyways, it was just interesting to see who was like open to it and who felt
Yeah.
comfortable and who was like, no, it's not my thing. So yeah, that was a bruja ting. I wanted to show the altar too, just really quick.
Yeah. This.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
did that.
Oh, bruja
Feels,
ting I brought.
it's like take your ancestors to school day.
I like that title. Yep.
Take your but no, and I love that you asked for consent because consent is always key,
In
even
life.
in bruja, especially in bruja things, because
Right.
know better. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's really, really cool. Was anyone um like that could also show you like who's kind of like aligned, you know what I mean? Do you meet any new potential new like friends or people you connected on a different level with maybe than
Yeah.
normally would have?
It's interesting. I have like two, I wouldn't say they're my besties or grad besties, but the ones I gravitate with because
Yeah.
we did stuff together. And so one of them actually went to a bruja thing as one of her papers, but she's I'm not trying to respect, I want to say this as a disclaimer. I respect what
Yeah.
people believe in.
Yeah.
But it was just interesting. She didn't seem into it, but my other classmate did, and it's part of her culture. So, and then my professor, she actually dressed up. She had the Dias de los Muertos like makeup.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so she taught multicultural foundations last quarter. So it was just really cool to witness people where they're at, especially because therapy is such a European based
Yeah.
modality, but
Yeah.
because of diversity and people realizing we have to honor cultural diversity, intersectionality, and me being a fire sign, wanting to like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what fire does, right?
Your
Change the landscape a little bit,
your fire moon is like, let me just move things around right quick. Well,
Let me
that's
just,
cool.
yeah, I just offered it to people. Like, you're going to encounter people who are going to reference their ancestors. Can you sit with that uncomfortability?
Yeah.
To understand where people come from. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Beautiful, sis. I love that.
Yeah. Your turn.
My
Okay.
turn.
I didn't put
Tell
the
me when to
timer.
go.
Tell you when to go. That's a Bay Area song. If we had a sound engineer, which we do in a different realm,
In a different room.
they would play that song. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so a bruja thing that I have been doing lately is I've been cultivating my relationship with my higher self.
Ooh. Tell us.
Let me tell you, I like her. So like I've been writing to my higher self, or like I'm realizing that's probably where my intuition comes from because she's higher and probably in the future, right?
Right.
Yes. Am I done already? Or is that something?
No, sorry, that was a text. Okay, go.
Okay, sorry. Okay, but yeah, so I've been just like cultivating a relationship with my higher self, like meditating, trying to connect. And honestly, it's making me love myself better because I can see
Mm,
myself through her eyes, and it's kind of how I see my younger self. I'm
mm,
not hard on my younger self because I only knew what I knew, right? So I
mm.
can look back at my younger self and maybe some of it was cringy, but I'm just like, okay, she's cute, she's learning. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is literally how my higher self sees current me. right? And so I've been
Mm.
cultivating a relationship with her, and it's been like really a really good form of loving, of like learning how to love myself, like self-love. So some of the things, like I said, that I do is like I'll just conversations with her in my head, and I feel like they say you have the answers already, right? And so I'm like, the answers come from my higher self. And
Yes.
so I'll write journal to her, or just like meditate and try to like commute, like make an altar, leave her like little
Mm.
gifts and shit. Like, you
Mm.
know what?
Love that.
I'm gonna do this for my higher self. I'm about to take this cleansing bath for my higher self right now. I'm gonna do this because that's what my higher self would want me to do. And I'm gonna do that in honor of her. And it's changed the game a little bit. I've been doing that for about a month now, and I'm just really the past couple
Mhm.
weeks been feeling it. So
Yes. Oof. Oof. Powerful.
so bruja tings.
Powerful ass bruja things.
Yes. So just Babaylan Brujas, check in with yourself. Let us know in the comments. What are you doing to for your practices and rituals, the things that enrich you and make you feel alive and magical and connected to the universe and the ancestors.
Yes. Yes. Let us know. Message us, DM us,
Yeah. And if
like
you're
and subscribe, We should start saying that because we don't.
yeah, I
We don't.
know.
And I've been listening to YouTube people and I'm just like, when they tell me to do that and I'm listening to them, I like it. I'm like, oh yeah, no problem,
Yeah, y'all like and subscribe. We're just gonna say it more. That's what we're manifesting. Like and
Yeah, damn it.
subscribes.
I want to commend us though. But our higher Babaylan Bruja podcast selves are like, you got like how many followers? Not that that's validation, but
Yeah.
in this 3D world, it is apparently. But we're able to ask for it now. So yeah, like and subscribe. We don't do this. We do this for free. So
We do. Yeah. So pay us in likes.
pay us in like.
Subscription,
And we
subscribe.
know somewhere else somewhere else in higher realms we are. So that's why we do it for real. That's why I do. I'll speak for me. Sorry, sis.
No, that's why I do it too. So.
Yes. So
Okay.
we're gonna do Brown Girl Cliff Notes now. This should be a jingle. And sis, you can sing it much better than me. So
can somebody else out there. So if you can sing, we should have a contest.
listen, I'm gonna send her like a mini piano because she can sing. I've been serenaded by sis y'alls and she be playing. So when your higher self, I'm gonna make an offer to your higher self so she can tell you it's okay to do like a jingle in between, and that'll be
the thing that
it'll
we do.
hit the like and subscribes. They'll be going up. So I should make the audience a bet.
That's that Filipino thing where they're like, oh, I don't sing. And as soon as the karaoke mic comes out, they're like,
It's so funny. It's true. I can think of like some memes or like videos I've seen online, Filipinos. Anyways,
okay.
Brown Girl Cliff Notes.
Brown Girl Cliff Notes.
Prepare yourselves, everybody. This was chapter 7. Chapter 7. It was a continuance of Magellan's voyage from, as if y'all's listen to chapter 6, from Rajah Kolambu, who ruled over Butuan and Caraga on the island of Mindanao. Now the ship is going into Cebu. And Cebu was known for the largest and best trade port, which obviously caught Magellan's ambitious eye. Part of the Brown Girl Cliff Notes, I did miss the day that they ported, and it says here, it's all 1521 if we haven't caught on to that. April 7th, 1521, okay? So Magellan and his troops, the Armada's arrival into this part of the archipelago. And it was just a very weird storytelling. Like Ate Judy, shout out to her again, but it just bounced from different. I don't know if Pigafetta was authoring like the observance, or it was she goes back to Bergreen's also reference sometimes, because Pigafetta actually gets referenced in Bergreen's book too, which we mentioned in the last chapters too. Bergreen wrote, Lawrence Bergreen wrote Over the Edge of the World, and Pigafetta's like words are in there, but Pigafetta is obviously that Italian historian that was on board with Magellan's, for people just kind of tuning in. This is why writers of the 2022 century, we still need you. Keep writing. So it's a very weird and tension-filled of now they're encountering Rajah Humabon.
I bet it's Humabon. Yeah.
As Ate Judy states, European constructs, they talk about king, queen, princess, whatever, but he was the king of Cebu. And so the first encounters were very weird. It's like, are we going to be cool or nah? So that's kind of what the stories was about. So you should really read it. Okay. Because I can only tell you so much.
It was interesting because it was like Magellan was acting brand new. Like he was acted different than he did with King Rajah Kolambu.
Yeah. It wasn't Magellan, it was more Enrique who irritated me. I was like, Enrique, but we'll dive into it, y'all. Okay. So as I'm almost done, Pigafetta Bergreen's description cite the sequence of events between Rajah Humabon, his nephew, Prince Tupas, Enrique, Pigafetta, Magellan's foster son, who's now in the story. Where did he come from? But I guess he was on board all the time. And apparently Rajah Kolambu makes an appearance because he was cited. But it's in all the discussions of, are we cool or not? And also they convert to Christianity, because the chapter is called The Conversion, y'alls.
Yeah.
It was cringy.
Yeah.
So back and forth, the extravagant, anxiety riddled entrances, exits. We're going to dive into it. So stick with us.
Yeah. It was, I want to point out that all those names belong to men. This chapter is very patriarchal.
Girl.
Crazy patriarchal. So.
There's also, they wrote about the queen being converted and her, 80 priestesses. They took over the goddess chamber. Oh, man.
I know. This is the beginning of the end. It was the beginning of the end, folks.
It's one of those like movies, the bad part's coming.
Yeah, exactly. But it was just like crazy because, Ate Judy even pointed out that Magellan was acting differently than he did. The last chapter was the friendship, or was it the arrival? I think it was the friendship, right? And they did the blood pact with Rajah Kolambu.
Girl, there's a blood pact shit in this chapter too.
There was more blood. They were just like, we're blood brothers. I'm like, stop making stop doing blood ceremonies.
Also not like, and y'all call women witches. That is some witch. That's some dark magic shit. And also blood is not something you should be exchanging. That's one of the worst things to exchange than spit. Like, hello.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Thank you for that, Sissy. We'll get into the chapter. I just want to say one thing.
Yes.
How you pointed out that, and Ate Judy says that I should mention that kings, queens, princes are European constructs. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh. So how sometimes you'll get a yes, queen, or you'll be like, just say queen or whatever. I'm like, what is a decolonized version? Because, I know there are some people who are saying, what is a non-gendered way of saying yes, queen, right? So people are like, go ahead, royalty, or something like that. But like, if queen, that whole idea of queen and king is European construct, like what would be a decolonized version of that? I don't have the answer, but that was just an interesting thought that came to my head.
Historians out there like send us the answer, but I will say we can go by Rajah. Datu means chief, but again, this whole patriarchal thing, what the hell was what was the women called? Why is all the men being documented?
Because when Okay, because we have oral history. And then when the Europeans came to record shit, they didn't think that the women titles were important enough. That's why.
Yeah, because Rajah had a woman, he's queen, and she was very well dressed. Can I just explain her really quick? Would that be okay?
Yeah, please.
She was at the end, y'all. They baptized her, okay? Just a little what do they call that?
Spoiler alert, teaser.
Spoiler alert.
Teaser.
Baptized the queen, her entourage of 40 women, gave her the Virgin Mary cross, and her name is Joanna after the King of Spain's mother. I grieve. But the Queen of Cebu, as young as she was described as young and beautiful, covered with a white and black cloth, had a very red mouth and nails, and wore on her head a large mat made of palm leaves, with a crown above made of the same leaves, after the fashion of the Pope. So she was walking around with a palm crown, like, I'm the queen.
Yeah, and she had lipstick. She had her nails done.
And her lipstick on, and
she said red lip today.
Red lips and red nails.
But what was her name before Joanna? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. What was your name? So,
all right, we gave some spoilers, so let's dive in.
All right.
Right.
Thank you, sis.
Yes.
Okay, so we're just going to dive into the conversation. As always, we start with 2 vocabulary words of things that hit us. I'll go first. The thing that really struck me was the international diplomacy. So on page 114.
Yeah.
And I'll back up to page 113. I'll just read this for context. Rajah Kolambu, who we met in the previous chapter.
Mindanao, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he was friends with Magellan. He was like friends.
They did all the drinking games and shit.
Yeah, the drinking, raised their fists to the sky.
So Rajah came, with the merchant.
Yeah, so Rajah Kolambu and the merchant from Siam. So he's a person that's new. He's new to the story because he was hanging out with this new Rajah Humabon. So the merchant, Rajah Kolambu and the merchant from Siam came to the ship the following morning and told them that Rajah Humabon was preparing as many provisions as possible for them, and many notable men were coming after dinner to make peace. Magellan had one of his men, quote unquote, armed with his own harness, and made it known that we should all fight armed this way. The merchant of Siam was frightened by this, but Magellan told him, quote unquote, not to be afraid, and that our weapons were mild to our friends and sharp to our enemies. Pigafetta noted that Magellan did this because the merchant of Siam was, quote unquote, more intelligent than others, that he might tell all to Rajah Humabon, who's the new guy on the scene, right? Who Magellan is trying to be friends with.
Yeah.
Magellan's use of the merchant as an intermediary seemed to me like an interesting tactical move. This encounter, which seemed so simple in our history books, began to look more and more like a game of international diplomacy. So if that is literally like the whole chapter, it's very much like
checks.
And no one's saying what they really mean. People are trying, it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, so it's international diplomacy. And I understand the need to be diplomatic, but I don't like all of the diplomatic manipulation that was happening. And I'm sure it still goes on now, and I'm sure I still hate it now. But what I'm saying is that when you just read it, for what's happening, it's gross.
It's gross. That's a good word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's men going, because it said Magellan fired his artillery and like, it's just a lot of like posturing up. It's lot of like
machismo. It's very like, we're entering, we're coming. Because that's to give y'all's like little context. that's how they, with the ships, they would fire their artillery as a way of saying we're coming. But to like, if I was on the island posted and I've been living there and I'm like, who are these motherfuckers on the boat trying to make me like scared? So there was like writings about like how the natives were like, it shook them because they're living peaceful on this fucking island. And these people, foreigners come and that's how they enter and leave. Like, we got guns kind of thing.
Yeah. And then he had a whole armor. He had armor on. He's like, yeah, we should all dress like this when we fight. Ha ha ha. You know, and the merchant of Siam seemed to understand what that meant. And so Magellan was like, don't worry. Our weapons are mild to our friends. Like, okay, you better be friends with me because I have weapons, which plays into what I'm sure we'll get into later.
Can I piggyback off that? But yes, I want to please. If you're not complete.
No, I'm complete. That please.
Okay, it's on page 111. All right.
On one.
Enrique. This is where Enrique pissed me off, and I thought Enrique was cool. And Enrique was.
He's brand new to this chapter too. What the fuck?
He deal with the drama too. Men are so dramatic too. Okay, like humans. I'll be fair.
Humans are all dramatic.
He's Magellan's slave because he was picked up from the island that Magellan actually wants to conquer or something, right? Enrique, and I quote, realized that the merchant mistook these newcomers as coming from Portuguese ships because the merchant's name is Siam, and he told them basically like, be careful because these men come from places that have conquered places, right? So Enrique kind of is like observing Siam say something, and then Enrique's like, oh, okay. Siam said that because they think that they're from Portugal. I wrote the same shit because
Portugal, Spain, he's still over there.
He told them Magellan's king was more powerful than the king of Portugal because he was, quote, the king of Spain and the emperor of all Christendom. Enrique declared, this is when he pissed me off, that if Rajah Humabon did not want to be the king of Spain's friend, he would send, quote, so many men against him that he would destroy him.
That's what it's saying.
It's like y'all kind of like alpha dogging each other low key, you know? And then Rajah Humabon answered that he would speak with his council and he would give a response next day. I'm gonna just give our ancestors, answer Rajah Humabon, thank you for not escalating, because he could have been like, oh yeah, bring it. No, we gotta talk about this and we'll come back to you.
Yeah, and just like
he still fed them, y'all.
Yeah, he still gave them food. So yeah, so if anyone is confused, what happened was, remember in the last chapter in the friendship, so there was a blood brothers between Magellan and Rajah Kolambu. So then Rajah Kolambu was like, let's go meet Rajah Humabon. And I thought it was, so I was like, oh, they're high on friendship. They're just going to get like more bros, right? And then they go in there. And then they just go in there and they're like, my armor's bigger than your armor. My sword's bigger than your sword.
Here comes the toxic masculinity. We won't even say just men, but it is men. That's just truth.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, what?
More machismo than you.
What is happening here?
You might find her, I'll kill you. What the fuck? Like, okay.
I know. Yeah. So they're trying to make friends. Like, that's not how you make friends. If you have to make somebody your friend, then they're not your friend.
And then how does that fall into Christendom? Christendom, that's not what Jesus would do. Yeah. That's not what Jesus would do.
Sige.
Yeah. Devil work.
But that's my diplomacy.
But I'm complete. I don't know if you're complete.
Yes, I'm complete, sis. I'm complete.
Okay, my word is on page 109. And I noticed that this is a thing. It's like tribute. Tribute is a way of presentation. It appeared on page 109 first. It's mentioned several times in the chapter. But it says here, where's the word I had? I'm going to give context. So Enrique told them, so they're kind of coming in, right? They're firing artillery, and Enrique is assuring them that it's custom to fire it on arrival as a sign of peace and friendship, whatever the fuck. He said it was to do more honor to the king of the country that all artillery had been fired. Okay. Fire just pellets of gun stuff into the air and let the earth. I'm a staff. So, and I don't know if y'all's like during the pandemic, bullets were so like toilet paper. Gun owners were treating artillery like toilet paper. Like, oh my God, I gotta line up because it's scarcity.
Yeah. Because they're coming for my toilet paper. I'm going to shoot a motherfucker for my toilet
These are just the things. I'm just complaining about masculine stuff. Okay. That's all. I'm in the name of Mother Earth. And this is just me speaking for you, Mother Earth, if you want me to. But that's silly to me. Like you're wasting bullets that you might need for actual combat. But go ahead. So, anyways, that's what they're doing, right? They're want y'all to kind of visualize that's what they're doing. And then so they're doing all this like reassurance to them while they're talking. This seemed to reassure them. And when the king's men asked what the new arrivals were searching for, Enrique told them that his quote master was a captain of the greatest king of the world, and that by his command he was going to discover the islands of Molucca, because he was really trying to get
the Spice Island. Yeah,
not the Philippines, y'all. So he added that they heard that Rajah Humabon's honor and good fame from Rajah Kolambu, so that they came to visit and also buy his merchandise as they replenish their provisions. So they're there to buy stuff. And then Rajah Humabon said they were welcome, but added that all ships arriving at his port must pay tribute, as this was custom. He told them that 4 days ago, a ship from Siam, which is where the merchant comes in, quote, loaded with gold and slaves, had paid him tribute, and as if wanting someone to corroborate his statement, he pointed to the merchant from Siam who arrived on the ship but remained in Cebu to trade. For some reason, Enrique responded, again, Enrique pissing me off, that Magellan, quote, as captain, as so great king as his, would not pay tribute to any lord in the world, and that if he desired peace, he should have peace, and if he desired war, a war he should have. So Ate Judy even says this was a surprising turn of events, since Enrique had said the artillery was fired in honor to the king. Then why would they threaten him? Again, it's this tribute thing, tribute. And then they start talking the next few pages about tributing in forms of blood. That's on page 113. And I know I only supposed to pick one vocab word, but yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it bleed intended into because like if you I'm just gonna go for it. Yeah. Rajah Humabon asked Enrique and the notary to sit near him and asked whether there was more than one captain on the ships. He asked then again whether Magellan wanted to pay tribute to the King of Spain. The notary responded no to all these questions and said Magellan, quote, wished only to trade in the things which he carried with the people of Cebu and not the others. Hearing this, Rajah Humabon said he was content if, quote, that if the captain wished to be his friend as a greater token of love, he would send him a little bit of his blood from the right arm, and the captain should do otherwise. I thought this was quite the step towards consensus in their negotiations. So what I'm hearing is the tribute is like money or some type of money, right?
Right.
Some type of currency, but Magellan and his crew are saying, nah, we came here to buy stuff. We're not going to give you money and then buy stuff. So we're going to do that. And then they're also like threatening each other. So I don't know if it's like a man thing or they're just being like, okay, well, you're here to buy stuff, but we also want you to show us some type of currency.
Well, I do want to point out that something Ate Judy speculated. So it's all speculation. We don't know. That maybe he was like Magellan was acting all hard and brand new because on 110 she says perhaps Cebu was one of the 2 quote unquote discovered islands that Magellan wanted to claim for himself as part of his contract for the expedition. Because remember when Magellan went to go and this sail for Spain, he put in his contract that he could keep, it's so crazy, he could keep 2 of the islands that he discovered. He was saying, well, maybe Ate Judy was speculating that maybe Cebu was one of the ones that he wanted to keep for himself, even though there was people already there. So that's why he came in and was acting like a hard ass, like he was all like the shit. When before he was like, all buddy buddy with the other king. So
right. And to pay like a little, we don't even know Rajah Humabon's attitude. He could be totally antagonistic as well. However, he's protecting his people. If you go further down on page 113, it says Rajah Humabon seemed really bent about getting that tribute.
Yeah.
Enrique and the notary responded, since he wished to maintain that custom, he should begin by making a present, and afterward the captain would do what was due. So it was like a game of like who would blink first.
Yeah, I was like, they're going back and forth now, but in such like flowery, manipulative language. Diplomatic. It was very diplomatic.
This is where it's like, look, yo, you gonna port here? We got a fee, pay that, okay, and then you want to be all friendly, cool. We could do that too.
Yeah, but he didn't want to do it as the custom, so
tribute, y'all.
Tribute. Just pay the fucking tribute. It's not like you don't got red caps on there, okay. Magellan.
I know.
Okay, so we're just gonna keep on going because there's a lot to speak about. So quotes.
Yeah. Quotes. This keeps, I like that you're saying this thing about Magellan being brand new, because he was all friendly with Rajah Kolambu, but then Rajah Humabon, he's like, but so then he flipped it again, y'all, like so confusing. So just give you context with this quote. So they're going through days of like this back and forth bullshit, right? And I just want to give like there was April 14th. They landed
April 7th.
April 7th. So this is a week later, right? They're doing the conversion thing now. And right before they had just, I guess, consented. I don't know what the fuck happened. I'm doing all the cuss words today. Sorry, y'all. But honestly, like, it was disturbing. Like, because Magellan, like, suddenly was like, he's painted as this person who conquered, right, the Philippines, or got killed. He did. But he was being friendly. It was weird. Okay, so this is the scene where, they're going back and forth, like, I'm going to go on your ship and say, like, we want to talk to you. We're going to feed you. And then we're going to come back on the shore and they're going to fire arms. And you're going to say, like, we want you to come to the ship later. Like, they're just doing that shit for like a whole week, right?
Yeah.
Goddamn tributes and stuff. Goddamn tributes. And so when it comes to page 116, this is taking place where I guess like they had been invited to go on the ship for dinner. This starts on page 114. People want to like read into it and picture it your own way. So it's Rajah Humabon, his nephew, Prince Tupas, Rajah Kolambu, the merchant of Siam, the governor, the chief constable, and 8 of the other King of Cebu's men came on Magellan's ship for dinner. So they're all eating, communing, talking, and then they started talking about Christianity. Magellan then spoke to them about peace in his religion. Pigafetta's documented this. Filipinos replied they had never heard of such things. But since they're oral storytellers, they're all for listening to stories. Okay.
Right. Love that. They
ate it up. They literally ate it up, y'all. They went on the ship and they ate up this Magellan story about Christianity. And he was obviously pleased that the people listened gladly and what was said to them, gave good answers, and induced them to become Christians. He brought it up. And then Magellan started thinking longer term. So blah, blah, blah. Discussion came back to religion. And then Magellan talked about the creation, how Christians had immortal souls. I don't know if he was trying to bait our ancestors, y'all, but he showed them other things touching our faith. Good company, good honor. Christian conversion was not in the charter for the expedition, but it seemed Magellan started to veer off the course with these discussions.
Yeah.
And it only takes one person to say, if you want it, I'll bring my priest and they'll baptize you, because that's what he did. He said if these Filipinos want to become Christians, his priest would baptize them. He'd bring priests and preachers to instruct them another time. Filipinos responded that they would speak with Rajah Humabon first and then become Christians. What? Then Pigafetta said, each of us wept for joy that we had goodwill of these people. Lord. The version and I growing up, the Spaniards arrived, whatever. So Ate Judy's narrating now. She said, I wonder if they're trying to curry favor with these powerful new allies. So this is where my quote comes in. It might have been too good to be true for Magellan as well, because he, quote, told them they should not become Christians for fear of us or to please us. If they did not become Christians, we should show them no displeasure. End quote. The caveat was Magellan added that those who become Christians would be more regarded and better treated than others. So it's like how he baited them. Like, we're not going to convert you, but if you do become Christian, then you'll be better. You'll be immortal, whatever. Trying to sell them some shit. And then after all the display of European weaponry and threats of war, the options seemed to be clear for the Filipinos.
Yeah.
So it's overwhelming. And like, I don't know, Magellan and his folks are like moved that they move these people. And then it's crazy, taking one hand from Prince Tupas and another with Rajah Kolambu, he promised perpetual peace between them and the King of Spain.
Did they do a blood compact for that? Because
Lord,
I'd like to bring that up to Spain. They broke their part of the contract.
It says here they went into gift giving, so that was it. And then literally the next fucking day,
yeah,
they did the conversion, y'all.
Yeah.
So
I had the same passage like highlighted. That that one stuck out to me too. That Magellan, I was like, oh, that's nice. He told them they should not become Christians. Like, don't do it because we want you to. Do it because you want to. But we'll treat you better if you're Christian.
Cringe.
What do you think is gonna happen? And you show up with your artillery and with your armor, suggesting we should all fight with armor. Ha, ha. Don't worry. If you're our friends, we aren't going to be hard on you. Just dirty. And yeah.
That's dirty. That's the word. Like,
dirty.
This chapter was cringy because it's dirty. Like, they did Rajah Humabon and the people of Cebu dirty. Like, they bullied them into converting.
It was the beginning of the end, folks.
Coercion.
So for context, April 14, they had all, at this point, they had already converted, like, so hundreds. The queen had converted, hundreds of Filipinos had converted. Magellan and Rajah Humabon went up on the platform where they sat on two chairs, one covered in red velvet and another in violet. Magellan, through Enrique, spoke to the King of Cebu to initiate him into the Christian faith. The king said that he wished to be Christian, but some of his men would not obey him, saying that they were men as he was, end quote. Magellan had all the chiefs called and told them if they did not obey Rajah Humabon, quote, he would have them all killed and would give all their goods to the king, end quote. Of course, the chief said, you know what, we're going to go ahead and obey.
Lord.
So then they put up a cross in the center of the square. So, and Magellan said to Rajah Humabon that all their idols must be burned and everyone should worship the cross daily on their knees with their hands clasped to the sky. Woo! So, after mass, Magellan invited, here is where my quote comes in and the thing that I wanted to highlight. After the mass, Magellan invited Rajah Humabon and his chiefs to dinner, but they refused. The ships once again discharged the artillery in celebration as Magellan and his crew left. Filipinos declining Magellan's offer to dine was surprising to me and a big red flag. That's what Ate Judy is saying. Feasts always followed Filipino celebrations, do they not? Yes, that's still true to this day. If the baptisms were a momentous occasion for the Europeans, no feast meant it was not for the Filipinos. So that's why I say this is the beginning of the end. I think
they went along with it, and
they went along with it. And then I think too, I mean, they were coerced, honestly. Artillery, men with like armor and guns and shit. And so it sounds like Magellan was just like on this power trip to put a cross up in the square. It was like, you have to pray every day, your hands clasped to the sky. Like, I don't know. It's just, I just wonder, like, if one of our babaylan were there at the time, if they were just like looking at this and like shaking their heads, like, oh, batala. Like,
oh, batala.
Yeah.
Maybe they knew. Maybe they knew. Here's a conspiracy. Maybe they knew this had to happen.
Maybe. But I just, it's not a true conversion. One of the things that Ate Judy says, that she quotes Bergreen. The scenes of quote, the scenes of conversion seem touching and inspiring at first glance. I mean, especially to those, to Magellan and the crew. But on closer inspection, they were incongruous and improbable. Theater won the day. So
theater,
because it says in all more than 2,000 converted. But again, if you're converting because they don't want to
cause problems,
shot up,
they played along with it. Yeah. They were survival. They had to play along.
Yeah.
They went back to their side of the ring, and the next chapter is called The Battle, y'all.
Yeah, it's called The Battle. So we're gonna see what happens.
Ooh, a cliffhanger, yeah.
Does our boy, what's his name, show up finally?
Lapu Lapu.
Yeah, come on, Lapu Lapu, where you at?
He's probably in the background like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so yeah, it's a big deal if a Filipino won't eat with you.
Yeah.
And
because we take it so personally when people don't want to eat our food.
I know. Oh, side note.
No.
Yes, you eat.
Why?
So last night we had my rabbit trail real quick. So we had my niece's cotillion, right? And so my sister-in-law, at the end, when people were leaving, she was like, there are to-go boxes so you can take food, and someone was like, that's not a thing that happens at white people. Like, no one's like, here's a to-go box. And it's so funny because, living out here where we do in the Midwest, it's always like, if we're going to go to a birthday party, we're like, oh yeah, we better eat. Cause it's like white people party, which is fine. I'm not saying white people are bad, but sometimes they do just have chips and soda. And then that's it at a birthday party.
And pizza.
Which is fine. I'm not saying that's bad, because sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm tired. Let's just do that as well. But for a big celebration,
Filipinos always feast.
Yeah. So I'm like, if we're going to a Filipino birthday party, I know that I get to come hungry. I'm gonna come hungry. I'm gonna bring my to-go boxes. They're gonna be in the car, because somebody's gonna be like, "Do you want to take food?" And be like, "Yes, Tita. I have my container in the car." Yeah. So before we end, can I read one more thing that has nothing to do with the patriarchy, nothing to do with this back and forth shit? Okay. So it is in the chapter though. And he was talking about Bergreen against again from Bergreen's Over the Edge of the World. It is just a description of what the Europeans probably saw. So it's page on 108. Bergreen wrote, as the Armada de Maluca approached the sandy, palm-shaded shores of Cebu, the crew members could see that the island was home to the most prosperous people they had encountered so far on the voyage. They watched village after village emerge as if by magic from the obscurity of the jungle. The inhabitants looked placid and well-fed and not particularly startled by the strange ships. Their huts rising on stilts in groups of 5 or 6 resembled homesteads or even small estates. Overhead, tall palm trees blotted out the sky and cast wide swaths of shade. In front, extending from the water's edge, fishing lines crisscrossed the shallow water, and a little farther from land, speedy proas, some powered by brightly colored sails, others by paddle, traveled out to greet their arriving fleet. No longer did the men of the Armada have to contend with nomadic giants or wandering tribes living at the end of the world. Here was civilization, or at least a semblance thereof. So I just felt like I wanted to end the chapter and remind everyone, just like a picture of the beautiful pre-colonial setting that the Philippines, or Maay, what was magical, prosperous.
My.
Yeah. And yeah. So that's what we are. That's what we were. That's what we are.
We're Mayans. Sounds like Mayan. Just saying.
Yeah, we're prosperous. So listen, we're prosperous. That's our birthright. And we're magical. We came out the jungle like we were magic. They were like, what? Where'd all these people come from? Prosperous and magical.
That's beautiful, sis. It makes me angry though.
I know.
We was just mind our own fucking business, man.
We were, it's not like we weren't trading with other people who were trading back, and we had good relations with other countries, and it doesn't seem like anyone really had done this level of coercion before. So all right, Bob Island Brujas. So that is that.
Clear this, go do something. Yeah. I'm gonna go sit in the sun after this because
take some deep breaths.
I'm a little bothered. I'm not gonna lie.
And ground, yes, and ground, and and we will meet in the next chapter and see how things grow. Do you feel complete, sissy?
Yes.
So as we end our conversation and close out this container with gratitude, we recognize and honor all our ancestors and the ancestors of the lands we occupy. We also recognize and honor you, dear Kapwatid, with so much gratitude for joining our conversation today. And as always, Stephanie and I leave you with a blessing. As you continue on this journey of remembrance, may you remember that you are a sovereign being capable of choosing for yourself what you believe and don't believe. May you always remember your birthright of prosperity and magic. May your boundaries always be strong and kind, and may your decisions always be empowered. May the remembrance of Kapwa always anchor you into your heart. And until we meet again, may you know that all is well and will be well, and that no matter what happens, you